It all started with a ping on my phone. I looked down, expecting a message from someone else, but instead, there it was, a simple text that shattered my world. "Did you know Elise is dating Marisol now?" My heart dropped, and the room felt like it was spinning. My fingers trembled as I reread the words, hoping they would change, hoping this was just a cruel joke. But deep down, I knew it was real. "No way," I whispered to myself, my voice barely above a breath. I felt a wave of disbelief wash over me. Elise was my first love, the one who made my heart race and my laugh a little louder. Marisol had been my rock, my confidant, the one I turned to for advice. How could they do this to me? The betrayal cut deep, leaving a gaping hole where trust used to be. I thought back to all the moments we shared. I could still see Elise's smile, the way her eyes lit up when she laughed. And Marisol, her endless support during the toughest days of my life. We had shared secrets, dreams, and countless late-night talks. I had thought we were a team, but now I felt like a fool. Was I blind to the signs? How could I not see this coming? My heart raced, not just from the betrayal, but from the storm of emotions swirling inside me. Anger, sadness, confusion, all tangled together in a messy knot. "I trusted you both," I muttered under my breath, clenching my fists. The desire for revenge began to bubble within me. How could they betray me like this? Did they think I would just sit back and let it happen? I wanted them to feel the same pain I was feeling. I wanted to confront them, to scream, to make them understand how much they had hurt me. But as the whirlwind of emotions continued to rise, I found myself caught in a different kind of battle. A battle between anger and the memories that made me love them in the first place. Suddenly, a memory flashed through my mind. Marisol and I sitting on the roof of my house, talking about everything and nothing. The stars above seemed to listen as we shared our dreams. "You know, one day we'll be out there, living our best lives," she had said, her voice filled with hope. I could almost hear her laughter echoing in the night. That was the Marisol I knew, the one who supported me, who lifted me up when I was down. How could that same person betray me? I felt a heaviness in my chest as I struggled to reconcile the past with the present. The once warm memories now felt tainted, overshadowed by the betrayal. My mind raced with questions that had no answers. How could they do this? Did they even care about how I would feel? Did my friendship mean so little to them? As the thoughts spiraled, I realized I was at a crossroads. I could either succumb to the darkness of betrayal or find a way to rise above it. The thought of revenge ignited a fire within me. I could make them pay, show them how much they had hurt me. But was that really the answer? Would it make the pain go away? I didn't know. All I felt was the ache in my heart and the growing desire to regain control over my life, my emotions. In that moment, I made a silent vow to myself. I wouldn't let their actions define me. I would rise above this, no matter how hard it would be. But first, I needed answers. I needed to confront them, to understand how they could betray me so completely. The thought of facing them filled me with dread, but I knew it was time to act. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the storm ahead. "Marisol," I whispered, determination filling my voice. "We need to talk." The words hung heavy in the air, foreshadowing the confrontation that was about to change everything. I sat at the small cafe on the corner, my hands wrapped around a warm cup of coffee. The steam rose and curled in the chilly air, but I felt colder inside. It was a strange mix of anticipation and dread that filled me as I waited for Marisol to arrive. I had invited her here, knowing I needed to confront her about everything that had happened. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my racing heart. When she walked in, a smile on her face, it felt like a punch to my gut. How could she look so happy? I motioned for her to join me, and as she approached, I noticed the way her eyes darted around, as if she was searching for an escape route. "Hey," she said, her voice cheerful. "Thanks for inviting me. I've missed our talks." "Yeah," I replied, trying to keep my tone neutral. "We need to talk, Marisol." My heart raced as I said those words. I needed to be strong, but the hurt was still fresh. "What about?" she asked, her smile fading slightly. I took a moment to gather my thoughts. "About you and Elise." Marisol's expression shifted, and for a brief second I saw guilt flash across her face. "Oh, that. I didn't think you'd mind. I thought you two were over." "Mind?" I echoed, my voice rising slightly. "You're with my ex-girlfriend, my best friend. How could I not mind?" "I didn't mean for it to happen like this," she said, her voice almost pleading. It just happened." "Just happened?" I leaned forward, trying to keep my composure. "You didn't think about how it would affect me? How it would feel to see you two together? You should have known better." I know," she said, her hands shaking slightly as she wrapped them around her own cup. "But Elise and we just connected. It wasn't planned." I felt a wave of memories crash over me, each one a reminder of the bond Marisol and I had built over the years. We had laughed together, cried together, shared secrets. We were supposed to be there for each other, Marisol. Friends don't betray friends like this. "I never meant to hurt you," she said, her eyes downcast. "You're my best friend. I thought you'd be okay with it eventually." "Eventually?" I scoffed. "You really think I'd just get over it? You're dating the person I loved. You've crossed a line and it hurts." The silence between us grew heavy, filled with the weight of unspoken words. I watched her squirm, her guilt palpable in the air. I wanted to yell, to make her feel the pain she had caused me, but something inside me shifted. Instead of lashing out, I decided to take a different approach. "Look, Marisol," I said, softening my voice. "I don't want to fight. I just need to understand why you did this. Why her?" "It just felt right," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't expect to fall for her. It just happened." "Right," I said, shaking my head. "It seems like you didn't think about how this would affect our friendship. I need time to process this." "Can we fix this?" she asked, desperation creeping into her voice. "I don't want to lose you as a friend." "Maybe we can," I said slowly, weighing my words. "But it will take time. I need to figure out what this all means for me." She nodded, tears forming in her eyes. "I'm really sorry. I never wanted to hurt you." "I know," I replied, feeling a strange mix of sympathy and anger. "But you did. Just give me some space, okay? I need to think." As she got up to leave, I felt a strange sense of calm wash over me. I had not screamed or thrown a fit. Instead, I had chosen to be composed, gathering my thoughts for a calculated response in the future. Maybe that was the strength I needed to move forward, even if it felt like a betrayal echoed in my heart. After the coffee meeting with Marisol, a plan started to form in my mind. I sat in my room, staring at my phone, the weight of betrayal heavy in my chest. Instead of confronting them directly, I decided to take a different route. I wanted them to feel the sting of their choices. So, I began to spread rumors about Elise and Marisol's new relationship, painting them as this blissful couple. "Did you hear?" I told a friend at school. "Elise and Marisol are practically inseparable now. It's like they're in their own little world." At first, it felt good. I watched my classmates whisper and glance at them in the halls. I felt a small sense of satisfaction, thinking maybe this would teach them a lesson. But as the days went by, that initial burst of joy faded. Instead, a profound sense of loneliness crept in. I sat at lunch, surrounded by friends, and yet I felt isolated. My heart ached not just from the betrayal, but from the emptiness that revenge could not fill. I took a bite of my sandwich, but it tasted bland. "Hey, are you okay?" my friend Jake asked, noticing my distant gaze. "Yeah, just tired," I replied, forcing a smile. But deep down, I knew that wasn't true. I was tired of feeling this way, of letting their actions dictate my emotions. As I watched Elise and Marisol laughing together from across the cafeteria, I felt a wave of anger wash over me. But then I realized something important. The cycle of revenge would not heal my wounds. Instead, it was only deepening them. They seemed so happy, while I was stuck in this mess of hurt and anger. I found myself reflecting on the situation more and more. Why do I let them control how I feel? I muttered to myself one afternoon. The thought echoed in my mind like a painful reminder. The more I spread the rumors, the more I realized that this wasn't who I wanted to be. I didn't want to be the person who thrived on other people's pain. It made me feel small and weak. One evening, I sat on my bed, staring at the wall. "What's wrong with me?" I whispered. It was clear. The true betrayal lay not in what they did, but in how I allowed their actions to take over my life. I had given them power over my feelings, and that felt worse than the betrayal itself. I picked up my phone and hesitated. I wanted to text Marisol, to tell her how I felt, to confront her about everything. But instead, I just stared at the screen, my fingers hovering over the keys. Maybe I should just let it go, I thought. Maybe I should focus on myself instead. The realization hit me hard. I didn't want to be the puppet in their game, dancing to the tune of their betrayal. I wanted to reclaim my life and my emotions. That night, as I lay in bed, I thought about the next steps. I could continue down this path of revenge, or I could choose to break free from it. I closed my eyes, envisioning a life where I wasn't defined by Elise and Marisol's actions. "I'll find a way to move on," I promised myself quietly. I deserve to be happy too. The echo of betrayal still lingered, but I knew I had the power to change the narrative. This was my story, and I would not let them write it for me. I fell asleep that night with a sense of determination. The next day, I would start to focus on healing, on finding joy again without letting the bitterness consume me. And so, I began to let go of the bitterness that had taken root in my heart, ready to embrace the journey ahead. The night of the prom had finally arrived, and I could feel the weight of anxiety sitting heavy in my chest. As I stood in front of the bathroom mirror, I took a deep breath, trying to calm my racing heart. My reflection looked back at me, a mix of determination and fear in my eyes. I knew tonight was the night I had to confront Elise and Marisol. There was no turning back now. As I walked into the gym, decorated with twinkling lights and colorful streamers, the noise of laughter and music hit me like a wave. I scanned the room, and there they were, Elise and Marisol, standing together, their heads thrown back in laughter. The sight twisted my stomach into knots. It felt unreal that just a few months ago we were all friends, and now they were partners in betrayal. Can you believe they're actually here together? I heard a voice beside me. It was Jenna, my classmate. She looked at me with a mix of pity and curiosity. "Yeah, it's hard to watch," I replied, forcing a smile that didn't reach my eyes. "Are you going to say something to them?" she asked, raising her eyebrows. "I have to," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "I can't just stand here and let them pretend everything is fine." With that, I took a deep breath and pushed my way through the crowd. Each step felt heavier than the last, and I could feel my heart pounding in my ears. As I approached them, their laughter faded, and they turned to face me. Marisol's smile faltered, and Elise's expression turned guarded. "Hey," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Can we talk?" Marisol looked at Elise as if seeking permission. Elise nodded slowly. "Sure, let's step outside." We moved to a quieter area just outside the gym, where the music was muffled, and the air felt thick with tension. The stars shone above us, but all I could focus on was the anger boiling inside me. "Why?" I asked, my voice a mix of hurt and anger. "Why would you do this to me? You both knew how much I cared about you." Elise opened her mouth to respond, but Marisol cut in. "It just happened, okay? I didn't plan for this to happen." "Didn't plan?" I echoed, my voice rising. "You didn't plan to betray me? That's your excuse?" The words felt like fire on my tongue, and I struggled to contain my emotions. "Listen, I know this is hard for you," Elise said, her tone softer now. "But we were both unhappy in our own ways. It wasn't just about you." "Unhappy?" I scoffed, the bitterness tasting sharp. "You think that makes it right? You both had a choice, and you chose to hurt me." The crowd inside the gym began to notice us. I could see heads turning, whispers spreading like wildfire. I felt the heat of embarrassment rising in my cheeks, but I pushed it aside. This moment was bigger than my pride. "Maybe you should have thought of that before you started dating," I shot back, my words dripping with venom. "You both made a mockery of our friendship." Marisol looked hurt, and for a moment I saw a flicker of regret in her eyes. "I never wanted to hurt you. I fell for Elise." "Fell for her?" I laughed bitterly. "And what about our friendship? Did that mean nothing to you?" For a moment, silence hung between us like an unspoken truth. Then, I took a step back, feeling the weight of the crowd's gaze upon us. "You know what? I don't need this. I don't need either of you." "Wait," Elise called out, but I could feel the words rising in me, desperate to escape. "You can't just walk away from this." I turned, my heart racing but my resolve hardening. "I can, and I will. You both don't get to control my feelings anymore." As I walked away, I could hear whispers behind me, a mix of shock and empathy from our classmates. It felt like a storm of emotions swirled around me, but somewhere deep inside, I realized that I had just taken a step toward reclaiming my own power. This wasn't just about confronting them. It was about standing up for myself, even if it felt lonely at that moment. The aftermath of my outburst at prom hit me like a cold wave. I stood there, feeling the weight of my actions crash down around me. Some students came up to me offering support, while others whispered harsh words. It was a mix of reactions that left me feeling more lost than ever. "Dude, that was crazy," Jake said, slapping my back as he walked by. "I didn't know you had it in you." "Thanks, I guess," I replied, forcing a smile. Inside, I felt hollow. Did I really achieve anything? Was exposing Elise and Marisol worth it? I had hoped for a sense of victory, but all I felt was regret. As I moved through the crowd, I caught glimpses of Elise and Marisol. They stood together, their faces a mix of shock and anger. I could see the hurt in their eyes, but I also saw a hint of defiance. It was clear that this confrontation had not turned out the way I had imagined. "Why did you do that?" Marisol had shouted at me as I walked away, her voice cutting through the noise of the party. "You didn't have to make a scene." "Maybe I did," I had shot back, my voice rising in frustration. "Maybe you both need to see how your betrayal hurts." Now I regretted how I had reacted. I had wanted to make them feel the pain they caused me, but all I had done was create more chaos. I could feel the stares of my classmates, some filled with sympathy and others with judgment. I found a quiet corner of the gym, away from the music and laughter. Leaning against the wall, I closed my eyes, trying to calm my racing thoughts. The night was supposed to be about celebrating, but now it felt like a nightmare. "Hey," a soft voice broke through my thoughts. I opened my eyes to see Mia, one of my closest friends, standing beside me. "Are you okay?" "I don't know," I admitted, rubbing my temples. "I thought confronting them would help, but it just feels empty." Mia nodded, her expression understanding. "I get it. What they did was wrong, but maybe you should think about how you want to handle it moving forward. You don't have to let their actions define you." Her words sank in. Instead of focusing on revenge, maybe I should focus on healing. What do you mean? I asked, genuinely curious. Look, you're hurt, and that's valid. But don't let that hurt control you. You're worth so much more than how they treated you, she said, her voice steady. You have friends who care about you. We're here for you. I took a deep breath, letting her words wash over me. I just wanted them to feel what I felt. I thought that would make things better. Did it? She asked gently. I paused, reflecting on the chaos I had created. No, it didn't. If anything, I feel worse. Then maybe it's time to let go of that anger, Mia suggested. Focus on yourself for a change. You deserve to be happy. Her advice struck a chord within me. I had spent so much time plotting revenge that I had forgotten about my own happiness. I realized that I had the power to choose how to respond to this situation. I didn't have to let their betrayal define my worth. Thanks, Mia, I said, feeling a sense of relief. I think I needed to hear that. Anytime, she replied, giving me a reassuring smile. Let's get out of here and grab some food. You need a break from all this drama. I nodded, grateful for her support. As we walked out of the gym, I felt a shift within me. I was starting to see that my healing journey could begin now, without the need for revenge. Outside, the cool night air greeted us, and I took a deep breath, feeling lighter. I could choose to focus on the good in my life and the friendships that truly mattered. It was time to reclaim my happiness and redefine my worth, free from the echoes of betrayal. Standing in the dimly lit hall of the prom, I felt a strange mix of emotions swirling inside me. The music pulsed through the air, but it didn't reach me. I was lost in thought, staring at the couples dancing, laughing, and enjoying their night. For the first time, I realized that I didn't want to be part of that world of hurt and betrayal anymore. As I leaned against the wall, I caught sight of Elise and Marisol across the room. They looked happy, wrapped up in their own little bubble. A wave of anger washed over me, but unlike before, it didn't consume me. Instead, I took a deep breath and whispered to myself, "This is their moment, not mine." I could feel the echo of betrayal trying to pull me back, but I was determined to break free. "Hey, are you okay?" A familiar voice broke my concentration. It was Jenna, a friend who had stood by me through the chaos. She looked concerned, her brow furrowed. "You've been really quiet since the showdown." I forced a smile, though it didn't quite reach my eyes. "Yeah, just thinking about everything. It's hard to let go, you know." Jenna nodded, understanding. "I get it. But you can't let them control how you feel. You deserve to be happy." Her words hung in the air, and for the first time in a long while, I considered the truth behind them. "You're right," I said softly. "I need to focus on me. I can't let this betrayal define who I am." As the realization settled in, I felt a lightness in my chest. I wanted to embrace my freedom, to step away from the shadows of my past. I had spent too long letting Elise and Marisol's actions dictate my emotions, and I was done with that. "Let's dance," I said suddenly, surprising even myself. The music played on, upbeat and inviting. Jenna's eyes lit up, and she grabbed my hand, pulling me onto the dance floor. As we moved, I felt the beats vibrate through my body, and for the first time, the rhythm matched my heartbeat instead of my sorrow. "This is fun!" Jenna laughed, twirling around. I couldn't help but laugh too, the sound breaking the heaviness that had clung to me for weeks. I looked around at my friends who were also dancing and enjoying themselves. They were my support, the ones who truly cared for me. "Let's make some memories tonight," I shouted over the music, my spirit lifting. Jenna grinned at me, her enthusiasm infectious. "Absolutely. Here's to new beginnings," she cheered, raising her cup in a mock toast. I raised mine too, feeling lighter with every beat of the music. As the night went on, I joined other friends, laughing and joking, letting the fun wash over me. I noticed that I was no longer looking over at Elise and Marisol. They had become a distant thought, a fading echo in the background of my newfound joy. At one point, I found myself standing outside for a breather. The cool night air felt refreshing against my skin. I looked up at the stars, feeling a sense of peace. "I'm free," I whispered to myself. The pain was still there, but it no longer had a hold on me. Jenna joined me, leaning against the railing beside me. "You seem different," she said, studying my face. "Like you've let something go." "I have," I replied, a smile creeping onto my lips. "I'm choosing to be happy. No more holding on to anger or pain. I want to build new friendships, explore new things, and just live." "That's the spirit," Jenna exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. "You deserve it. You're stronger than you know." As the night came to a close, I felt a sense of gratitude for the lessons I had learned. I had faced betrayal, but I had also discovered resilience and the power of choosing my happiness. I knew that I would carry this strength with me as I moved forward. I made a silent vow under the stars. I would prioritize my own happiness and self-worth. The echoes of betrayal would fade away, replaced by the sound of laughter, love, and new beginnings. Embracing freedom was my choice, and I was ready to live it. Share this story if you believe that embracing freedom can lead to new beginnings and happiness. Leave a comment about a time when you chose to let go of negativity and prioritize your own joy. Don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories like this one.